The new channel. See the new. The new channel. See the new. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the new channel, here to help you see the new you. Masayang panangalian, maugmang pamugtuhan, happy lunch. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host in the HR Hotline. Welcome back to HR Hotline. Our topic today is a wonderful topic, thriving in times of crisis. So, for an HR person or for anybody, we are in a crisis. And we need crisis management. And what is crisis management? Crisis management is a process that a person or organization deals with a sudden emergency. So you are in an emergency mode because it harms you. It harms stakeholders. So you need to have a time to see if you are ready. Are you prepared for this type of situation? How are you responding to it? Which is why our topic is, how do you thrive? Actually, we are still on it. And then what are we going to do post the crisis? What is the key? The key is to identify what are the threats. Of course, 3 months have gone. So you must, at this time, have identified the threats. If not, you have to start enumerating, magmuni-muni, what are actually the threats so that you can see how are you going to respond to it so that you can, reduce the uncertainties. There are, when I was a student, there is what you call major. I was major in management. Then minor was actually psychology, which is why I ventured into human resources. In psychology, we have that, antidote stages when you are in a crisis. At that time, we were taught there is actually what they call denial. When it happens, there is denial. Let me cut my little conversation by mentioning that at this time, my previous department in Inquirer is grieving one of the managers under me Babe's good succumbed to a heart attack. So when I woke up, everybody was in crisis. Everybody was in our chat. So I was trying to give them, soothe them, virtual hugs, because some are still in denial. Thank Lord, I am an agile person. Quickly, I accepted what is happening. After the denial, there is what we call containment. We Bicolanos, I am from Legazpi, we know that. We are used to having calamities. I grew up with typhoons and floods. So when there is a calamity, a natural calamity, types of crisis, one is natural calamity. Then there is what you call our beautiful Mayon volcano. When she doesn't feel good, she erupts. So we're used to calamities. After the first disruption, then containment. Then we have the shame mongering. What is your communication? How do you relate to it? Then you now go to your mode of understanding how you're going to navigate. So actually, the first thing is readiness. Again, it's readiness. Woe to you if you are an HR person that pre-COVID, you were so busy with your payroll, with other things. You did not prepare your organization into competency based, into systems that can now just be easily be restarted while working remotely. So it's actually preparedness. And that preparedness is actually, again, trying to identify, define. I know you had your strategic planning. What was the content of your strategic plan? Crisis management should have been embedded for your business continuity. And now that we are on it, we are now responding. That is our topic today. You as a person, you as an HR team, which we discussed previously with Darwin Rivers, how are you going to respond to the pandemic? And what are you doing now? Your reassurance to yourself and your reassurance to your team. Then, of course, you're doing this for the recovery of your organization. Ang dami po nating pag-uusapan dito sa crisis management because we're on it. This is just the first of a series of discussions. Maybe every week we're going to invite somebody to discuss with us how we are going to thrive in this challenging moment. So I invited a very special person. So who were our guests? This is actually the night. We had past President Obet Policarpio, then Attorney Johnson Yiga, then we had the President of the People Managed Association of the Philippines, Maria Luisa Echevarria. Then we had, she's going to be back next week, Maria Antoinette Aliones for the employee engagement. Then we had again Attorney Johnson Yuga to discuss with us extensively, try to look for that in the recordings, extensively the laws, the Telecommuting Act. Then we have Lisa Makua to share with us what are the competencies that we can get from ballet dancing to HR practice. Then we have Congressman Mark Go, and he shared with us the proposed bills to amend the existing laws relative to labor. Then lately we had Mr. Darwin Rivers. What an engaging, what an engaging discussion on the HR 2019. I would like to mention that there are friends of mine watching. Christy from Naga, Mr. Obet Policarpio. Then we have, uh, I will mention them later on. Let me try to see the live comments. Carl Ibarrientos, he is actually in Saudi Arabia. Then we have my dear cousin Donald. He's also watching from Saudi. Okay. We have lots of friends already watching. Now, let me introduce to you as briefly as I can so that we'll have time. A dear friend. We met a few years before I became the president of the People Management Association of the Philippines, PMAP, in 2016. She's a very gracious lady. She was actually offering her office, the services, her time with the association. And she's always a lady with a smile, a very HR person. She is actually the vice president of PHINMA. We'll ask her what PHINMA means later on. And right now, she's an energetic because she's the vice president of the People Management Association of the Philippines. She's pushing, organizing, sharing her time with all the big events of PIMA. We'll ask updates from her later on. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Lin Mukhi.
Hi, Jesse. Good afternoon. It's so nice to be here with
Beautiful.
you. We're having fun. I mean, this is a great way to spend a Saturday lunchtime. So good. And hi, everyone who's watching us. Yeah,
This is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And this is
yeah,
all
right.
about
Yeah.
HR hotline. I chose 12 o'clock so that's actually the lunch date. I'm at the lunch date of HR because I tried to ask them which is the best time. I have students and I made a
Yeah.
survey. Should it be in the morning or in the afternoon? And they all say, we are in a webinar, we are busy. So lunchtime is the best time for an HR.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lunchtime is
So
perfect also. Yeah. Remember
So
when
how
we're
are
in the
you
office?
coping?
This is the
How
time
are
when
you
we sit
coping?
down over lunch. Yeah.
Yes, yes. How are you coping with the COVID-19 pandemic? You personally, how are you coping with it?
Yeah. Well, I'm good. I'm very grateful that we are able to work from home with our company FINMA. You asked me earlier to explain what FINMA stands for, right? That's
Yes,
Philippine
yes.
Investment Management Inc. We have been on work from home since March 16, and we're operating fully actually, working, like a standard office, 8 o'clock to 5. Of course, now I found out that it's actually more than 8 to 5. It has become 24/7 in so many ways. But
Because
yeah,
it's
we're good.
flexible. Right? It's
Yes,
flexible
yes,
working arrangement. The more that you're in a
yeah.
flexible working arrangement, you really work, you really extend and you go beyond.
And what I found out is, normally I spend my time in traffic in the morning, easily an hour and a half or 2 hours to get to the office, another hour and a half and 2 hours to get home. So that easily, I have like 3, 4 hours in a day that you're driving, you're sitting in traffic. That time is now spent more productively working and volunteering for other activities like this, as well as with my involvement with PMAP. So there are blessings underneath the shadow and the
Wonderful.
darkness that we have right
Wonderful,
now. We
Lynn.
just have to see
Actually,
them.
Leon, I was taking showers thinking about that. I can have a topic on the pandemic posit- positiveness, the positivity from the pandemic, and I can have it. I'm trying to invite our dear friend, past President Bong Austero, and that will be our topic: the positiveness, the
Yeah,
positivity that we get from the pandemic. But this
yeah,
time our topic is about thriving in the crisis. Can you share with us? How should an HR or how should a person thrive in these challenging times? Tell
right.
us. I know you
Yeah,
prepared for this.
Yeah. Well, it really starts with understanding the human mind and how we operate, right? So, on the one hand, we think of ourselves as leaders, as HR leaders. And then we also think of the people that we lead in our organizations. All of us are human beings. We're all people. We're impacted in the same way. And our mindset, our emotions, our fears influence how we will cope with this crisis. So, flashback, like you said, Jesse, it's been what, more than 3 months, going on 4 months
Yes,
actually almost by now.
yes,
And can you still
yes.
remember last March when we started talking about having a lockdown? What did most people do at that time? Do you remember?
Yes, I was the first in PMAP to do the webinar. And it is
Yeah,
I was the
that's
first.
great. Yeah,
And then
yeah, that's
and then
great.
my topic was actually conquering fears. And then my
Wow, right.
framework was actually on emotional intelligence. So
Okay,
when the
great. Yeah.
webinars was pre-COVID, PMAP was already doing webinars, and I
Mhm.
was on it. So when the time that Carol asked who is ready, I volunteered, and I was the first one of the first to do it.
Uh, your
So
your response, yeah, your response shows how you are and your level of development as a person. You're at the contributing level, the thriving level already. But so many people at that time started out from fear. I don't know if you
can we
remember, there
can
were
we can
long
we
lines in the
have
supermarket.
can we have that chart that you prepared? Can we
Oh
share
yeah,
that?
yeah. I have something
Can
that
you
I prepared. It shows a circle diagram of how people start out normally in coping with crisis.
But what we have here is your
Right.
beautiful face.
Yeah,
Your
I
beauty.
placed that photo. You know why? Because for me,
Oh,
that's my thriving photo. The big smile. That's my thriving photo. Okay.
anyway,
No,
that the
I,
chart is already here. Okay, can you
yeah,
tell us about the
where am
chart?
I during COVID-19? Or to talk to our viewers, where are you and how are you coping? It's very normal. Most people started out from fear. That's the first zone. There were long lines in the supermarket. I heard people in the office talking about panic buying, stocking up on
I did
toilet
that.
paper and
I did
alcohol.
that. I did
You know,
that.
Okay, I'm so glad you're so open and honest to admit that because that's very human. When there's something confronting us, sometimes the first impulse is fear because we don't know what's gonna happen. Now
Let me
ako,
catch
hindi
you.
ako nag-stuck, Jessie. I did
Let
stuck.
me let me catch you. That was
Yeah.
after the PAPS meeting in Makati. After the PAPS meeting, I went to the grocery and I bought the grocery.
Yeah, yeah. So good for
I
you
was in the
being
fear.
honest.
I was
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
fear zone. I was in the fear zone.
Wow,
Continue,
I
please.
super appreciate your honesty. That's very normal. Most everybody started out that way. Now,
Please
admittedly,
continue
I
the
did
chart.
panic buy. I didn't go to the supermarket. I didn't have a stock of toilet paper simply because as an HR leader, I was so busy in the office. One, there was no time to go to the supermarket. And number two,
Okay.
I also felt that when people panic buy, that makes the situation more difficult for everybody else, right? But that's
Right.
it. That's how
Yeah.
people start out in any crisis situation. It's okay to feel the fear, acknowledge and accept that you feel the fear because that's normal. What's important is you move on to the next zone, which is the learning zone, which is looking at, okay, what can I learn from this situation? So, okay, fear muna. And I'm hoping, when you look at the past 3 months, I'm hoping our viewers have evolved and have moved out already of that fear situation and are now in the learning zone using resources like this show to help us learn how to cope better, to make realizations on what can we learn from this crisis. Yun yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina. Like you said, you're gonna have a topic on it next week that, there are always things that you can learn from each situation. And that's how you move away from the fear because wala naman tayong magagawa. This situation has come upon us. We can realize that we have no control of it and we can simply choose to set our minds to learn from it. And that's the learning zone. If we choose to say, I am going to make a difference to others by managing myself, managing my fears, managing my emotions, finding ways to learn how to become stronger and better in the situation. Congratulations. That is what will help you move forwards so that then you
Yeah.
will become somebody who will grow and then thrive. Yeah. I'm going to
Oh.
pause here for some reactions from you, Jesse. We might be getting reactions from our viewers.
Yes. My
I
question is,
wonder
so
about the learning stone.
so it's you are now in the growth zone. So what are the lessons learned from that, from the stages that happen personally, and what you have seen with other organizations, from fear to what is the second
Learning to
learning.
growing. Yeah,
So
growing. Yeah.
that is my
Lessons
question.
learned.
So
Yeah.
what are the learnings
Yeah.
that we can gather from that?
Number one, for me personally and as an HR leader, it's being able to acknowledge and understand that people are at different levels, but everyone is doing his or her best to cope and to manage and respond to the situations as best as possible. When you talk
Okay.
about a work from home program,
Okay.
some people are
Let,
very productive. Okay, yeah, you want to cut in? Yeah, yes,
yeah, yes,
this is
yes.
lively.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you started with the first one, and I know you have around 3 or 4 items. Let me cut you because it's time that we will have announcements. Don't Those
Oh,
who are
all
listening to
right.
us, hopefully, because Lynn will continue, parang bitin ha, will continue with
Yeah.
what are the learnings and what are you supposed to do. So can we have the first break for the show? Thank you, Lord, for those announcements. That only means that we have to be with the TNC the whole day. Wonderful shows. Yes, let me announce this. I am going to have a webinar, Transforming the Workplace, Adapting to the New Work Norms, on July 17. That's a Friday from 2 to 4. It is flash there. If you are interested, join me. Very minimal, registration fee. As what I was mentioning earlier, you have to be tuned to TNC. The big picture of Lloyd Luna from Mondays to Fridays. Mine is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays lunchtime. Then we have the business with Dr. Mike and Bert. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the fourth project on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 7 p.m. This is wonderful. Carmine on the U-turn. It's Mondays and Thursdays. And we have the home buyer, which is with Dante Salamat. I love this. I watched this, the puppet stories of Wan Lu and the TNC original. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to tune in. Have join the like the page so that you will have what you call a somebody will remind you to join us. Of course, we are celebrating small wins and we're proud of it. Even my show, for all those friends of mine who promised me that you're going to sponsor. My God, my shows is actually rating of views. My last week shows it's actually reaching thousands of viewers, and this is niche because these are all HR people. So I'm still looking for sponsors so that we can have the second, the third, and the fourth season for HR Hotline. PM me if you are interested, and we can have that what you want to be announced plus, and this is recorded. What is nice with live streaming is if you miss it, we can forward to you the recording, and you can do what PP Orbit is doing, watch parties. Okay, before going back to our special guest, which I interrupted for the announcement, but I like it, it's live, so that you will be waiting, diba? This is not a webinar. She started with the first one. But before we again ask her to join me, February Kapantak, the past president of the Philippine Society for Talent Development, would like to greet the special guest and would like to congratulate us for this wonderful topic today. This is wonderful. You will learn as a person and as an HR person because it is nested in us how you're going to thrive in this pandemic. This is what I call it the emotional contagion. You have to be ready. So can we have again our dear friend Lin Mukhi to continue before I
Yeah.
interrupted her? The question was
Yeah.
how? Teach us. How are we going to actually that is the question. How are we going to learn? Lessons learned from the one that you shared with us from the circles, from the chart. Okay, tell us. You started with the number
Right.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Number one
You
is
said, yeah, recognize that everybody has ability to contribute and is simply doing their best to cope with the situation. So when you think of people who are working from home, most HR leaders probably started out with putting in so many measures to monitor time spent at work, to monitor productivity. What we need to move into is to encouraging a more results-based mindset. That's the lesson number one learned, because you cannot really control what people are doing in their homes. And we know that in their homes, people are coping with their own pressures. They probably are taking care of parents or children, whatever their home situation may be. We don't even know. There are times nawawala ng internet bandwidth, nawawala ng Wi-Fi, and we don't want people to feel a sense of guilt, right? So recognize that people are doing their best to cope with a complicated situation, including yourself. Number one lesson learned is, we've been working almost 24/7. Most HR people have been sharing that with me. Recognize also that there are times when you may not have all the answers. And as a leader, it's okay. I don't have all the answers right now,
right, right,
but together we can seek solutions as we face our fears and we put together our ideas so that we can learn from that situation that we're facing.
teamwork and
So
collaboration.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
right.
Yeah, I love it.
Recognizing everyone's ability to contribute. Because when we put our ideas together, we're able to come up with ways by which we can deal better
Right.
with this pandemic. And so that's number one lesson learned. Number two, be mindful of where you put your time and your energy. There
Love
is
this. I
so
love it.
much going on in social media, so many news that you get, a lot of fake news sometimes, and we get a lot of negative also comments that we hear about in the news, in your Facebook feed, Viber chats. All of this negativity, they drain our energy because they
Right.
impact our mind and they impact our emotions. So it drains us. So second lesson learned, choose what you consume mentally, emotionally. And even physically, some people were saying, Naku, after this situation, when we come up, we're all going to be very fat because we're all staying at home and we're not exercising. So
Yeah, that's
choose
right.
what you. But I see you, Jesse. You're not putting on weight. You still look very much the same. So you must be
I
exercising.
I do walks now because I have time. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
walking time. I have a walking.
yeah,
But you know,
yeah,
I'm a senior citizen, so I have to wear mask moving around the village.
yeah.
But you know, that is what I mentioned. It is so sad. One of our colleagues in Inquirer had a heart attack, succumbed to a heart attack because, and everybody was mentioning because of eating a lot of good food and no exercise at all. That's right. So what is the third, Lynn?
Third
You're on the
is
second.
realizing that we have no control on the situation, but we can control what we put in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies. Letting go of that control and now making conscious choices to live in the present. If there's one big lesson that we can learn from this situation right now, is that we live on a daily basis, right? We don't
Right,
even know
right,
when there's going to be a vaccine. We don't know when a GCQ or a modified GCQ, we don't know what government pronouncements will come up. We don't know how many more people are going to get sick. So we can choose to live in the present and be
right.
grateful for the
I
health and
love
the
that.
life that we have, and say,
Yes.
I'm going to find purpose in this situation and I'm going to find a way to contribute and to be of help to others, which is what your show is doing, actually, Jesse. This is allowing us to find purpose, to express our
Thank
ideas in
you.
very
Thank
constructive
you.
ways, to be able to contribute. And that's when you begin to thrive. Because when you start giving and you start making your contribution, you're moving away from your fear, from your self centered mindset, and you're looking at,
I love it.
okay, how will I be my best self during this situation? In FINMA, we have that tagline for our wellness program: bring your best self to work. We had that
Okay,
even before COVID.
can you
And
share
now we
with
said,
us?
bring your best self to the fight. That's what we call it now. Yeah.
Are you prepared of something that we can get from you?
Yeah,
What Pinwa is
yeah. I
doing?
actually have a slide which we're gonna show
Can we
next
have it?
about
Yes.
our best practices.
Oh,
The one
please,
that
please do.
shows, yeah, the one that
Please.
shows our stress reliever for the day promo and our Wellness Wednesdays program.
Okay,
In
I love this.
FINMA, all right,
Yeah.
yeah. When we started with the um, work from home situation, people were, adjusting, and a lot of stress was happening. So what we did in HR in FINMA is that every Monday we came out with a communication poster, and we called it stress reliever for the day. We have several samples, but this is the one I chose to share with you on the show today because it has a very powerful message. If you
Yes,
look there, I have
yes.
a photo. Yan yung dati naming outing. We were in a beach in Punta Fuego at the
You
time. So
cannot
of
do
course,
that
this summer,
now.
walang outing, right? So medyo
Yes.
may impact yan sa mga tao natin in organizations because maraming nawala sa kanila. Nawala yung freedom to go out, nawala yung mga outing, mga fellowship, na physical, face-to-face. And people
So what
need
did you
that.
do? You
So
posted
we
this?
said the message is harness the power of memories. As human
Wow, I
beings, we
love
have
it.
stored in our
Oh God.
minds a lot of
Oh God.
positive memories, and these
Oh
are
God.
very powerful. So that was our
Throwback.
stress reliever for the
It's a
day. Kaya nakita
throwback.
namin yung photo.
So it's a throwback, and then
Yeah.
the nice memories will actually relieve your stress because you have
Yes.
a
Yeah.
smile in your. I love
You
that.
know what happens to our brain? Because I'm a psychologist, what happens to our brain whenever we come up with a positive thought and a positive memory, nati-trigger yung happy feelings that were associated with that memory. So when you think of, your baby, for example, or a time when you had a wonderful party, when you had a wonderful vacation, the memories trigger positive emotions, and positive emotions will now
Lynn, Lynn, let,
overcome the negative
Lynn, let me
emotion.
ask you. Will FINMA share this? Can this be a movement that all the HR, all the PMAP can duplicate, replicate what you're doing? Some
Oh,
posters on the
happily.
wall.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
happily,
So for
happily.
all,
I'm always
oh,
happy to share whatever. Yeah.
thank you. So there is a movement that is coming from FINMA, from Lynn. We can all, as HR, have some posters in our social media literally and in our bulletin boards, or when we do what you call Zoom meetings, something that is positive in the past, a throwback in the past,
Right.
so that it can
Yeah.
bring positivity. I love that, Lynn. So
It
allow
brings
me
back
to.
memories. Yeah. And even for
Oh,
those who are just, with your families, a lot of families experience arguments and tensions in the home,
oh
maybe
yes,
because of
yes,
the constrained situation, right?
that's
You
true.
know,
That's true.
this is a time you can look at your photo albums, look at your photos, remember the happy times that you've had as a family.
I will do
And
that.
for wives and husbands, yeah,
I will do that. I will bring out my photo albums, my
yeah. I'm gonna say,
Oh,
to the wives, sometimes if you're feeling irritated, look at your wedding photo when you're in your beautiful white
oh,
gown with your husband. You will remember why you married this guy, But memories are very powerful, and
oh,
memories that happy take away our stress.
okay, let me catch you because I can see in the post I have a classmate way back in high school, LG Namya, LG. I can still hello, thank you for watching. And she posted happy memories are powerful. Yes, LG. I love that. So let's have a movement coming from FINMA and from Lin. We will request all those who are listening to come up with their own little way to have some posters to bring positivity. What else can you share us?
Okay, so that's every Monday. Every Tuesday, right now, we have what we call Training Tuesdays. I didn't have a poster on that because that's another topic altogether. Maybe we can have another time when we talk about
You're
learning
going
and
to come back.
development.
You're going to
Right.
come back.
Yeah.
Promise
So,
me.
but we have Learning Tuesdays every Tuesday. Let me jump. All right. Every Wednesday, we have what we call Wellness Wednesdays. So again, this is another communication poster and some activities that we post. We share with our people. We e-blast this every Wednesday. We have what we call My Wellness Journey at FINMA, body, heart, mind, and soul,
I love it. I love it.
right? And we
Lin,
post
Lin,
something
Lin,
that
Lin.
will speak to
How
that.
do you do?
Yeah.
How do you do it? That some of you are in flexible work arrangements. How do you
We
do
we
it?
e-blast. We email it. We have an email distribution, so we blast it to the email addresses. So everybody, all 2,000 plus of our employees, get it at the same time. Every Wednesday, they get a Wellness
So
Wednesday
so
poster.
you mean to tell me if I am a FINMA employee, I will receive on a Wednesday that today we're
Yes,
going to do walking or
yeah,
today we're going to do
yeah,
stretching.
right,
Oh, that
yeah,
is
right, right.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Or
We
today we're
even
going to pray
ask
the rosary.
Well, we even
Yeah.
ask people, to give us videos of what they're doing and how they're
I
staying
love
well.
it. I
Body,
love
mind.
it.
Kasi usong-uso ang TikTok ngayon, hindi ba? So, we ask people to share with us videos of themselves, quick 30-second to 1-minute clips of what they're doing at home. And then we share that. And we say, this is how we are all coping. So, you still feel connected. And the
Virgin
Wellness Wednesday
Mendoza,
post,
Virgin Mendoza is telling us, telling you that you are very inspiring and giving and sharing this to us.
uh,
How to thrive. Yeah. And then my classmate. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So that
thank
is
you, Virgie.
Wednesday. That is
Wednesdays, correct.
Wednesday. So
So you see, we have
pag
something
Thursday.
every day, no? Thursdays. What
Yeah,
happens now on Thursdays? On Thursdays, we again send out a survey to all our employees, and we call it the Health and Travel Declaration Survey. So
I
we
love
keep
it.
in touch and ask if you are experiencing any symptoms on your health, like cough, cold, fever, shortness of breath. Are you taking care of a COVID suspected patient? Have you been out to an area where there's a possibility that you might have contracted the virus? We're monitoring also their
So
health
this
so
is
that
your
they know.
tracking.
Yeah,
You're actually tracking already. How about your
yes, we're
mental
tracking and monitoring every Thursday. And I get the report. We ask them to respond to the survey. We normally release it at 9 o'clock, and then we uh, ask them to respond before 3 p.m. on that day so that by the end of the day, my HR team are already collating the feedback, and we get to know, is there somebody out there who might have been exposed to a COVID patient? We can get into action right away in HR and take action either within that same day or the next day if they need a
that is
medical
really
consultation.
an HR with a heart, taking care of people. How about the mental health? So this is
All right.
physical. This is health.
Yeah.
Do you also monitor their mental health? Do you
Yeah,
have
yeah. We
that?
Yeah, we actually offered also counseling services because we realized that people have different levels of stress tolerance. May iba sa atin, maybe because of our emotional stamina and the way we were brought out or the way we have matured in life, the more mature people like us,
Of course, of
mas
course.
nakaka-cope, di ba? But, you know, the young ones, their lives have been disrupted. Can you imagine if you're a 22, 23-year old, this is a time when you should be
Yeah.
going out, enjoying your life, and suddenly you're
Yes,
trapped at home. So we
yes.
offered one-on-one counseling services through a registered psychologist, a good friend of mine. I'd like to recognize her, Dr. Angela Yu. And she
Mm.
offered it. Actually, we had the counseling program in FINMA before live in the office, one-on-one. So we
So that
just
was pre-COVID.
way before COVID, we already had a program. So what we
Mm.
did this time is to transition it to online, and she conducted online for those who seek her help. We made a telephone number available, and in HR, we just connect them. We don't even ask what was the
Of
consultation
course,
about. We
of
respect the
course, of
privacy of the
course,
employee.
of
So we
course.
offered one-on-one counseling services for those whose concerns are more on the productivity, coaching related matters, not really psychological counseling. We also offered coaching services
Again,
one
again,
on
again,
one.
Lynn. Again, Lynn. I'm going to have a topic on mental health, and I'm going to invite somebody from Algon on that. But can we share again what you're doing with in PINMA? For all
Definitely.
HR listening, let's
Yeah.
have a program as regards to mental health, and this is a practice that we can benchmark. Benchmark. Now let us go to your Fridays. I'm so excited. So what is your Friday?
Fridays is a mix based on what happened during the week. You know, it's an open day so that you can now close the week on a very positive note. So, iba-iba yan. For my own HR team, I recognize how much they have been giving of themselves, you know, really working very hard. And so I've said, you know what, in HR, we need to nurture ourselves too. Even as we nurture others in the companies where we work, we need to sustain our energies, sustain our emotional resources. So I allow each one of my HR team members to choose a half day within the week where they go on a personal retreat, right? So this is
Very
a time for you to
nice.
step back. You can read a
Very
book,
nice.
you can spend time in meditation or prayer, you can attend a webinar, you can, you
Yes.
know, fix your files. Sometimes we're so busy, wala ka ng time mag-fix ng files mo in your laptop computer, right? So there's also the work, the admin work. So it's an open day for you to do that which is necessary for you so that you can close the week and feel fulfilled. Para may closure. Kasi
Question.
pag walang closure,
Question.
bitin. Yes.
Question. Are they still paid for that free day?
Yes. Yes. You
Very
know, in another
people
webinar that I
listen
did,
to people
yes.
listen to Lynn. People listen to Lynn. Again, the
Yes.
question: are they still paid for that free day?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
done during working time. It's done because it's part of our care. It's part of how we nurture our people.
I
And
love you,
we
Lynn.
recognize if it's the HR people who get burnt out, who's gonna take care of everybody in the companies,
Correct.
right? We
Correct.
cannot. We
Correct.
need ourselves to thrive too, even as we help others to thrive, right? And yeah, this show of yours is really fun. It's helping us. This is one way where we get input from fellow HR leaders so that by Monday we're ready to go again, ready to help and ready to contribute.
Do you
And so
have
that
the
moves
last
us towards the
last
thriving
question?
part na.
Last
Yeah.
question on this topic, please. We are going to another. So, what are your advice as a psychologist, as a BPHR? You know, you were the one of the first organizations who came up with an infographics. Kinopya ko yun, Lynn. I shared that with my students.
Yeah.
Kayo, late March. Kayo
Yeah.
yung
Yeah.
una. Kayo
Yes.
yung una. Kinopya ko yon, kinopya ko yon. Makikita mo in all my students kasi 'di ba I taught in San Beda Alabang and in
Yes.
UANP. Yung FINMA infographic share ko yon sa iyo. But you know, that is actually yung how you reacted, how fast you reacted, your
Yeah.
agility. But can you share with us now that you have mentioned these inspiring things that you do, you shared with us what they can do. Paano? Just a few. You're going to come back, huh? Just a few. How are we going to bounce forward as a
All
person,
right.
as an HR person, as an organization?
The guiding principle is be clear about your purpose and your mission. In
Very good.
PHINMA, we were among the first to say we will put our people first. You know, Jesse, as early as January 29, HR was already releasing communication to teach our people how to cope with COVID. And
Wow.
so that's why we were very proactive. And we said, because our purpose in HR is clear, we're here to nurture, lead, build the organization, and sustain our employer branding. And employer branding of FINMA is about making lives better. So
Wow.
be very clear about your purpose. That's the very first step that I would say, because from that perspective, it will guide all your actions.
Okay. So that is actually the foundation if you want to bounce forward. Be a Mary, not a Martha. That is biblical. Less of the work, but try to look. I love that advice from Lynn. Let's go to another topic before, again, we'll cut for some announcement, but let's start. You are the BP of PMAP. And there are two items that you keep on texting me. The first one is on membership. So this
Yes,
is why you the first one is the membership. The other one is for an event wherein I will
yes,
be manood sila because I am also there. Yes, the one in charge already called me yesterday. I am again on that portion where I'm going to do some energizers. Sabi ko, hindi ba ako speaker? Wag na sir. And then, but before you answer me, there is a webinar on Tuesday wherein either Rene requested me to be the moderator because ako daw ang kaya lang noon. And it's all about, Lynn, you know this, it's all about Meralco.
yeah.
So for those listening, join PMAP's webinar on Tuesday, right after me. I will mention it. Then I will give you the link. It's at 2 o'clock. And then I will be the moderator. Tanong natin. Just imagine ako, Diyos ko, para na akong may power plant dito sa babayaran ko. But you know, Miracle is my friend. And I already paid. Lynn, I already paid. No, kayo dyan sa Meralco, paid na ako hanggang August na yung payment ko. Kasi I don't want, alam mo naman ako, I don't want to have pressures and stress on myself. Now, tell us, may oras mo naman tayong konti. Doon muna tayo sa membership. So, you gave me, hindi natin pinas na yun, ha? What about membership? So, what about membership? Of course, they have to be members much more that we are in a remote situation. Tell us, Lynn. Yes.
I'd like to invite everyone to be a member of the People Management Association of the Philippines. That's PMAP. You know what? PMAP is not just for HR heads or HR leaders. It's actually for
Agree.
everyone who is a people manager. You know, you can be in any position in the company, but if you're managing people, PMAP is for you. The membership actually can be through two forms. It can be a company membership, where it's the company who is identified as the member and you become the representative designated by the company. It's a corporate membership, and that fees are paid by the company as well. Or it can be an individual membership, which is actually easier because, again, we're talking about thriving in this crisis. We need to take responsibility for our own development and for the ways by which it can contribute. PPAP will accept individual members, including young professionals, people who have just graduated, you know, and the fees are lower for the individual members. So you can become an individual member as long as you are a person of good reputation, a
Yes, yes.
professional, and you get
Okay.
the benefits of attending all the webinars. A lot of these are free. You become part of a network of leaders who share insights,
Yes.
expertise. Wow, and we have such a great resource, Diba Jesse. We have young
Yes.
leaders, we have very mature senior
Yes.
citizen leaders, we have great, fantastic people who become part of your
Yes.
network.
We'll go back to that. Let's have our second break of
Yeah,
announcements. Okay.
okay.
Alam mo, sa second season, we have to ask Lloyd, our executive producer, to give us more time. Parating bitin. At this time, this is segment kasi, this is the job fair. And then I would like to mention this because of our major sponsor, Wills Design and Associates, have job announcements. Can we have the slides for the jobs? We have uh, to their office in Tandang Sora. And for those who would like to sponsor us also, you can have the job announcement like this. Can we have the second slide, please? Just imagine, yes, they still need project managers, civil engineers, for works managers, engineers, quantity surveyor. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, pollution control officer, safety officers. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes, yes, registered nurse. Yes, uh, then CAD operator. Next slide, please. Document controller. I'm waiting for warehouse manager. Then we have, yes, and even HR. What is Flash now? You can go there. Just imagine a lot of people are out of work, but wonderful. We still have some companies are looking for people to fill in their vacancies. So thanks God. We still have Wills de Sena are still moving to think that we're still in the GCQ. So for those people who are, if you have some vacancy, I know Cofral is still looking for CAD operators too. That is uh, hrcofral.ph. Okay, so let's go back to Lin. Yes, so wonderful sharing of our special guest. Lin, we still
Yes.
have time. We still have 10 minutes. Lynn, let me ask you,
Okay.
aside from membership, this is different already. This is a different topic. Aside from
Mhm.
membership, can you tell us about the event that PMAP will have at the end of the month?
Yeah.
I
As I
think I
was
have a
saying,
slide. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
as I was saying earlier, PMAP allows you the opportunity to learn from many leaders and to network as well. So we have webinars, but this July 29 to 30, we have a very, very special event. It's the second PMAP Digital Summit. We had the first one last May, and gosh, it was blockbuster. We had so many participants, both on Zoom,
Because we
Facebook.
had
Yeah,
we had JASA as the
right.
keynote.
I tell you, we also have a fantastic lineup of speakers this July 29 to 30. And I want to emphasize we're actually moving in the way the conversation is evolving. In the first digital summit, we were talking about how do we reset our mindset as HR leaders and restart. This time, we're talking about recovery strategies. Because as we said, 3 months na, 4 months na tayo nandito sa crisis, and we all need to move forward. But how do we move forward and preserve as well as still generate employment for our people? If you're a small to medium-sized business owner, how do you move forward looking at the limited resources that you have? We think of the hospitality industry, pinaka-hard hit ang mga hotels, mga restaurants, travel agencies. We have a segment to talk about specifically the
Wow,
hotel industry,
love it.
a segment for
What
the
else?
small to medium-sized
Oh,
enterprises,
wow,
and
I love it. I love it.
education.
Wow, I love it.
Education is
So
another sector that was so hit. So we have an entire module for education. These are the lineup of topics. I hope everybody can see the poster on screen that we will be taking up during the 29th and the 30th on a half day basis. You know, we understand sometimes it's so hard to stay on Zoom the whole day. So we've made the session 1 o'clock to 6 p.m. And yet, putting in each day 3 topics that will help you to recover, to help you innovate, to help you move forward, both as a person as well as a leader in your organization. And of course, we cap
wonderful.
it with a discussion from Willis Towers Watson head for the Philippines, Mr. James Matty. We talk about HR's value, how we can
I,
continue to create value in this situation. So that's July 29 to 30. There's an email address I'd like to flash on screen. Please contact Kevin Jacinto. He's our professional staff. He will assist you for registration. Kevin.jacinto at pmap.org.ph to register for a very minimal fee. Wala kayo makikita na ganitong great value for as low as 300 pesos for members,
Oh,
500 pesos for
that's
non-members. Kaya dapat mag-member na kayo lahat ngayon, mas mabilis, because you get such value from these events. And we're
yes.
inviting sponsors as well because, in the last session, we reached over 33,000 people and still counting on the Facebook views, because it's
Okay.
live stream. Fantastic mileage for the companies who want to talk about their services and the products that they offer. We will all recover and we will do it together.
Lynn, I can see you are better as a salesperson. Oh,
Hindi
Lynn,
ba? We're all salespeople naman talaga.
Lynn, Lynn, before we leave, okay, I'll give you time. What is you'll come back in the second season, Lynn, ha? Kasi may kulang tayo, hindi natin na discuss yung ating pinag-usapan. Hindi, parating bitin talaga. First portion lang yon. But tell us, because we lack time already, can you give us your message, your parting message, before I say may thank you to you, and before I give my conclusion for the day. So, Lynn, what is your message for us today?
To everyone out there who's listening to us today, who's listening to me today, I want to reach out to you and say, there is hope. We can thrive in the midst of this crisis. God has given us resources inside within each of us so that you can find the strength to keep going, moving outside of your fears and your concerns, whatever might be troubling you. There is something that you can learn from this situation. Find that. And more than that, find your purpose. Find a way to contribute because that is how you will thrive. No matter how tiring each day is, there will be an opportunity for you to find a way to make a difference. And as you give to others, you will find that it gives back to you. You will thrive in this crisis. I hope that is something that you will take away from this session because I mean it with all my heart. Thank you, Jessie, for
Oh,
allowing me the time to share.
yes. Just marvelous too. Thank you very much. That is wonderful, Lynn, for sharing with us her sincere thoughts on how we thrive. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that we have to do is to listen. Listen to what is happening to us. Be aware. Your EQ to the max. And be agile in listening to your own self. Listen to others, people around you, and then identify and deal with it. And then I think I would like to add, this is crisis management for your own person and for the organization. Try to use what we call chaos mindset. Try to look for that. Chaos mindset is actually emphasizing on our adaptability, and that is what FINMA did. Adaptability, intuitive, initiative, and entrepreneurial. So they asked people to have a day, and they were so innovative. So it is not actually managing the chaos. Chaos mindset is actually trying to give people the energy, the 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 innovativeness to care for themselves, and then just put a structure. And so what Lynn shared with us is actually a crisis management with chaos mindset. It's so innovative. People were asked to do it on their own. So people are really engaged. It's a thought for us HR people or for everybody with your family and with your organization. This is the time that what we learned pre-COVID on crisis management, we have to do it. And we need a lot of psychology, we need a lot of emotional intelligence and agility to cope, to thrive in this challenging time. Thank you for our wonderful guests for giving us all the inspiration, all the ideas that we can do. And I added a little, di ba? Yung mga mindset that we can use. So, to conclude, we have to really be compelled to do it, to really deal with it, to cope and thrive in these challenging times. And right now, come up with ways how we are going to recover and bounce forward. Again, we're going to invite our special guest in the next session. And I just hope, thank you very much, Lynn. In
Thank
Bicol, we
you
call
very
it
much, Jessie. It's been a
fabulous.
wonderful hour here.
Yes. And for all, you took aking parting words. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host in HR Hotline. Just marvelous po.